we're going to be looking at financial instruments, and it's a very wide-ranging topic with aspects of theory as well as aspects of numbers. It's the sort of topic that I'm pretty convinced will be there in the exam in some way, shape or form. Could be a calculation, could be some writing, could be some words, or could be nothing at all, but I do think it will be there. Now, when I saw you last, we did touch on financial instruments, and what I would therefore like to do is to place a little bit of a recap at the front of the session so that we've got our context for what we're talking about. A financial instrument is a contract, and it's a contract that creates a financial asset in one entity, a right to receive money, an investment in shares, a financial asset in one entity, and a financial liability, an obligation to pay money, or an equity instrument in another. So just by way of a gentle start, a financial instrument is a contract that creates a financial asset in one entity and a financial liability or equity instrument and a financial liability or equity instrument in another. So that's just a very gentle start. Now, when we're looking at this topic, the topic breaks down, I think, really into four. The first part of the topic is looking at financial liabilities. The second part of the topic is looking at equity instruments. The third part of the topic is looking at financial assets. And then the fourth part will be looking at derivatives. The fourth part will be looking at derivatives. So financial instruments are contracts that create financial assets in one entity and a financial liability or equity instrument in another. When we talk about financial liabilities, you have a liability because you owe somebody some money. So you have an obligation to deliver cash. Or you have an obligation to deliver shares, but it's a variable amount. So in terms of what is a financial liability, a financial liability is an obligation to deliver cash. Financial liability would include contracts to deliver a variable number or amount, variable number of own shares, a variable number of own shares, or for a variable amount. And that's something we'll pick up on later. So financial liabilities are obligations to pay money, and they include contracts to deliver a variable number of your own shares, or contracts to deliver shares for a variable amount. Now, there are effectively including. So most financial liabilities are straightforward. They're an obligation to deliver cash, but you can get financial liabilities, which are contracts to deliver a variable number of your own shares or for a variable amount. Now, in terms of classification, there are two types. In terms of classification, there are two types. And last time, we looked at the most popular type, which is amortized cost. So last time we looked at the idea of amortized cost. Now this classification is your default. This classification is the normal method of accounting for liabilities. When you initially measure a liability at amortized cost, the initial measurement will be fair value less your issue costs. So it's effectively at the net proceeds of issue. At the net proceeds of issue. And you will charge the P&L with the effective rate. You will charge the P&L with the effective rate. Amortized cost. Amortized cost. This is the normal way we account for liabilities. And if you remember finance leases, it's the same idea. So liabilities at amortized cost are default. The initial measurement is fair value less the issue costs. In other words, the net proceeds of issue, and we charge the P&L the effective rate. Let me make up a simple example. Let me make up a simple example. I have a 100,000 2% bond. It will be redeemable in 10 years' time, and it will be redeemable at 10 years' time at a premium. So when the debenture is redeemed, there will be a premium on the redemption. I don't know what it is, but it'll be in 10 years' time. Now, when we issue the bond at a discount. So we do not physically receive 100,000. The effective rate of interest is 8%. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I want to know the finance cost, and I want to know the non-current liability. Those are the two key takeaways of any accounting for a liability. If you've borrowed money, what's your cost? If you've borrowed money, how much do you still owe? So yeah, this is the beginning. This is a recap of what we were doing last time we met. And the answer is not 2,000. It's not 2,000. And the answer is not 8,000 either. I'm not telling you what the redemption is. It'll be a number, but if I'm making an example up, I can't make the number up off the top of my head.